Alright, let's take a look at the chart action for Cardano. Alright, so in my last videos we were talking about these uptrends we had going. And we actually broke this first one going to the downside. And so I said, let's do a Fibonacci retracement. I said, we have some levels to watch. And I said to watch the 50% level and the 38% level. And look what happened. We got a bounce on the 38% level pretty much almost perfectly. But so what I did was I dollar cost averaged back in at these levels. And when we broke back this trend line right here, which was actually the same place that I ended up taking profits. So in general, sometimes it's just better to buy and hold and not try to take profits, I think, in some of these bull runs. So now what I'm looking at is we can move this top trend line, maybe doing something like this. We have support right here and we have support right here. So what I'm basically watching now is this trend line right here. And until we break this one going to the downside, I'm going to assume that we're going to have this nice clean uptrend. Let's take away this Fibonacci retracement because that's pretty much done. We actually broke above this top level on the Fibonacci level. So in my opinion, I think this is kind of a done kind of indicator for us for right now. We can delete that. So the main thing I'm watching is this 4-hour time frame and this uptrend going like this. Let's see if we could hold this trend line going to the upside. And even if we break down, we still have this trend line right here. And then we also have this other one below it as well. So it just depends on how short-term or long-term you want to play this. And if you're ready to, and if you do take profits, you're going to be wanting to be ready to get back in because it looks like there's going to be some short squeezes going on. Someone in the comments warned me about that too. He said, be careful for getting squeezed and taking profits because this is going to keep going up. And I did take profits, but I didn't fully get back in. So right now I'm kind of missing out on some of the money that I would have been getting if I would have just bought and hold. So like I said, sometimes it's just better to buy and hold some of these projects, and it's more interesting to just watch the chart and see where the price is going. Sometimes we can get some pretty good indicators though. If we go to the total crypto market cap, let's check this out real quick. And this was kind of the big signal that I was watching. So we had a kind of like a falling wedge, something like this, where we were bouncing in between and we was getting tighter going to the top. We broke to the downside right here. And I was watching this trend line right here. If we go into maybe like the 1-hour time frame, we can see this a little better. So I was watching this trend line going down like this. And I was saying if we break that to the upside, then we could kind of change our sentiment. And I was also saying when we break to the downside right here, I'm going to be looking for this bottom support right here and this bottom support right here. And we actually found support on this first one right there. We came up to this level down here and then we got a bounce right there. It looks like we're coming up to previous resistance right here. We broke above it for a second, and let's see if we could stay above that as well. So this is the total crypto market cap, and I think this one's a very good indicator of what's going on in general, better than kind of just watching Bitcoin, I would say. So let's delete these trend lines, and you can see that we have kind of this moving channel going to the upside, which is good. This is kind of what our last bull market looked like. But every time we come into this top line right here, it looks like we're getting some resistance. So basically a nice little rising channel, which is good. If we could break out of this channel going to the upside, this top trend line, we could maybe target it from the top to the bottom of this channel and drag it to the breakout, wherever that might be, if we can break out of this channel. For now, I would expect to keep in it until we break out of it going to the upside or to the downside. And for the downside, I would say look for previous support levels, something like that. Just depends on what the momentum kind of plays, and I'll be watching the total crypto market hawk. I'll be watching the total crypto market cap like a hawk. The other thing I wanted to show you is if we go to Cardano versus Ethereum. All right, so if we go to the Cardano to Ethereum chart, I'd been talking about this for a couple videos, I guess, and I was saying down here, I didn't know if it was going to hold support down here, but it actually ended up holding very good support, and we ended up nice little bull run. So I was saying we need to watch this trend line and then this trend line these two right here. So we broke those two trend lines pretty much like nothing. And then now I was saying we need to go to switch the daily time frame and watch this 180 moving average to see if that will give us trouble. And that really didn't give us much trouble either. So it looks like the 9 moving average is about to come up and try to cross with that 180 moving average. For me, I think I'm looking at previous resistance, something like this. We already kind of came up and touched it. I'm looking at this red line right here. I drew this red line and it's all pretty much previous resistance all in here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came up and maybe tested it and got some rejection or some resistance at least. And then maybe went sideways. I'm not sure. Maybe it'll just blast right through it. But I'm kind of looking at it. There's kind of a few points of resistance right here. And then the next level I would watch is maybe something right here. And then after that, maybe we could even come up and retest these all-time highs where Cardano was just dominating Ethereum. Like I said, so if we do the steps again, this would probably be step 1 right here, this red line, to break that one. And then step 2 would be this area right here. And then maybe even something right here, step 3. And then this would be probably like a target, let's say. So let's see if we could keep this momentum going. We're on let's go to the 4 hour, let's go back to the 4 hour time frame, and we have this trend line going something like this. I think we'll be watching, for me, I'm going to be watching the 4 hour time frame. This will kind of give me the signal that I'm looking for, I think. And I'm going to be watching this uptrend going something like this. If we start breaking it, going to the just even sideways or whatever, that might be an indication of weakness. But I would switch to maybe like the daily time frame, and then we could kind of see what's going on as far as kind of this trend line. Maybe even move it a little bit, something like that. But yeah, it looks like we've been getting some green candles on this Cardano to Ethereum chart, which is good because Ethereum was going crazy, and now it looks like Cardano is taking some of that money and using it to pump. So I've been watching this 5-minute time frame on the Cardano chart too. It's pretty interesting. I don't usually watch it because it doesn't usually hold a lot of weight, but it was actually showing some flag patterns, something like this. You can get the top to the bottom of this flagpole, drag that to the breakout once it hits the breakout, something like that. And we actually came up to that target. The other thing is we had another one, something like this. And then we also have something going on right here where we have like this downtrend, something like this. It looked like another flag pattern, but it looked like it broke to the downside. But it might just be a fake out. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I'm really watching that 4 hour time frame. Things like this where we get these little patterns and then we break to the downside, that might make you take profits a bit prematurely in these big bull patterns. So I would watch out for putting too much emphasis on these 5-minute time frames. They're pretty good. I mean, you can like kind of still trade on them, but yeah, I would still be watching maybe like the 4 hour time frame and maybe go a little bit longer term on this. In general, I would say we could probably delete all these little trend lines, something like this. It's really just a lot of noise because for me, I'm looking at these, I'm retesting these all-time highs and stuff like that. So if we go to like the 4 hour time frame or even like the daily time frame, we could even maybe delete some of these trend lines. But you can see that until we break this trend line on the daily time frame, this bottom one, this is like the main one that I'm watching, and hopefully we could ride this going to the next. So basically, since we broke this previous resistance all right here, I'm basically wondering if we could come retest this all-time high of around 2.30, somewhere around there. It looks like we're on track to do that. So ideally, that's what I'm thinking. And on the daily time frame, this is looking nice. So, I mean, it's possible we come down and have to retest this trend line or something like that. I'm not really sure. We're going to have to wait and see if we can keep this momentum going, maybe hit 230 and then come down and retest this trend line and keep going up, or flatten out, or let's see what happens. It's going to be very interesting, and Cardano's been running pretty good. I'm really watching this 4 hour time frame, and this is going to give me a good idea of what's going on. Like I said, be careful watching this 5-minute time frame. It might fake you out. It's already kind of faked me out a couple of times. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know your guys' targets or TA. We got a mixture of different experiences here. So if you guys think you guys have stuff to add, please feel free to share your opinions down below. Alright, if you guys like that video, hit that thumbs up button.